the Friedman BE100 by Brainworx and Universal Audio. For this video and demo of the Friedman BE100, my signal path is going through the Universal Audio console 1.0, into the Neve 1073 preamp. The mic level's at 40, everything else is even, except I have a low roll-off at 80, because there's really nothing below there for guitar that you need, so I always high pass at 80. Anyway, on to the Friedman front plate. There it is. There's a front plate. Going from left to right, you have power. Power obviously turns the amp on and off. Then you have presence, bass, middle, treble, master volume. The master volume controls the distorted side of the amp, so the BE side and the HBE, the hairy brown eye side. Then lastly, for that side, you have gain. Gain is obviously the amount of distortion the plug-in's producing. Next to the right, you have three knobs. You have clean volume, treble, and bass. That controls the clean side of the amplifier. So clean volume is obviously how much volume you'll be having when you are on the clean side. Treble, bass, pretty self-explanatory. Then below you have 6 little switches. From left to right, you have fat. Fat is great on the distortion channel when you are using single coils and you want it to be sort of a fatter sound, similar to a humbucker, but obviously they're not the same, but fatter like a humbucker would be. The C45, which sort of scoops the mids and adds some bass and treble. Saturation, or sat, obviously adds saturation, a little bit of gain, a little bit of compression. Those 3 specifically are for the distorted channels, so the BE and the HBE. Moving over to the right, you have voice. Voice is also for the distortion channels. Voice to the right, the way I have it, bass is a little bit bigger, a little bit more scooped feeling. If you push it to the left, it'll be a little bit more mid-rangey, a little darker. The last 2 switches are bright and then selector. The bright is a 3-way bright switch for the clean channel, so 3 positions, we'll go over that in a bit. Then lastly, you have clean, BE, and HB. This is how you select where you want to be in this plugin. So let's take a look at the effects rack. Effects rack still has the same similar kind of faceplate with the knobs, but you've added a noise gate on off, threshold and range controls the noise gate. Moving over to the right, you have amp filters, you have tight, which is the bottom end. Again, you can see I'm rolling off at 80. There's nothing below there. That's important for a guitar, especially when you're mixing. Then at the top, you have smooth. Smooth, I've rolled off at 21K. It's pretty high up. Then if you notice to the left of tight and to the right of smooth, you have a post, a pre, and an off. This basically means how you want to, where you want this, these high and low pass filters to be. Post would be after the Friedman. Pre would be going in. So if you're doing DI guitars the way we are today, you can shape the sound of your guitar going into the amp. Then off is obviously self-explanatory. It's off. Below that, you have recording chains. Brainworx recorded something, I think, 66 or 67 recording chains. We'll go over those in a bit. There's a lot of tonal variety in the recording chains. I think it's pretty interesting how using, let's say, the Friedman cabs are so widely different than using the American and English versions. Obviously, I have an English version up here. 49 is the one I prefer, just to my ear. We'll go over those in a bit. Below those, you'll see a plus and minus. Plus and minus is when you're auditioning cabinets if you want to toggle through them very quickly, as opposed to having to click on the actual little line to where you'll see all 66 come up. It's kind of a lot to look at really fast when you're looking. It's also easy to scroll. If you're up at 49, you wouldn't go to 50. It's just easier to hit plus. Next to that, you have auto. Auto basically lets you audition cabinets and recording chains as you're going through. Auto, so every 2 bars up to my DAW. So if my DAW is at 122, in this example, every 2 bars it will flick the recording chain, which is kind of cool. So you'll see that in a little bit. Then lastly, this is the end of the FX rack. You have a delay on, and then delay. On means the delay is on. Delay, when it's flicked like it is now, it's off. Next, you have tap tempo. So if you have a certain rhythm you want, just tap it in. Time, then you have ×2, subdivided by 2. You could also link it to your DAW's BPM, as you can see right there. You have a mix, a feedback, and a lo-fi. The mix is how much, how wet you want the signal to be. Feedback is how many echoes and repeats you want. And lo-fi is how clean or how grungy you want it to be. It's kind of interesting. We'll go over that. Then lastly is the part that I found the most interesting on this plugin. Input gain and power soak. Anyone who's a guitar player or uses an attenuator knows a power soak is an attenuator. It's a way to crank the amplifier while not, getting evicted if you live in an apartment or close proximity to your neighbors. The power soak on this is basically, in my opinion, your global master volume. And we'll go over that in a second and I'll show you that. But what I found weird about the power soak was that if you put it at neutral or 0, the amp clips, and there's really, I found very little way to make it not clip in Pro Tools. So that was sort of an interesting feature to me, but we'll go over that in a little bit. But the power soak to me, and even in the Brainworx manual, they suggest keeping it around -10 dB. So we'll go over that, but I found that to be the most interesting thing and sort of the biggest initial workaround that I had to figure out why I was always clipping when I was recording this. Anyway, let's get into it. So we'll go back to the front plate. I'm going to play just some simple D, just kind of pedal the low D string as I go through the presence. Let me do that right now, so I'll go through the presence. The bass. The middle. Treble. Master volume. Gain. Since we're on the distortion side, why don't we go through the fat? C45. And then saturation. voice. The voice on the left is a little bit darker, a little bit more mid-rangey. The voice to the right is a little bit bigger, more bass signal. So now let's flip over to the clean side of the amplifier. Remember, we have a clean volume, a treble, and a bass. We'll go through the bright switch, so all the way to the right. Middle position. And then all the way to the left. So now let's go through the options. So we have clean. So here's the basic clean sound as I have it set up right now. Here's the BE side. The front side, the HBE. So that's the basic front part of it. Going through the effects rack, let's see some of your options back here. Now would be a good time to show you all the recording chains. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the first recording chain, which is a Friedman 112. And we're going to hit auto. And as I play, you'll hear it and you'll see it switching every 2 bars. So this demo is going to take a little bit of time, but I want you to sort of hear every single option you have with this plugin. So let's do that now. lastly, let's go through and let you hear some of this delay. I think it's cool that Brainworx included a delay. It's kind of useful for guitar players if they want to quickly flip on a delay for, lead playing and hearing what a delay will add as opposed to having to go into your DAW and adding a delay. So I think it's kind of useful. It's not exactly my favorite delay, but it's not terrible either. So let's check out the delay. Lastly, let's play with this power soak. I want you to hear how it clips and sort of see how it's sort of your global master. If you can see on the left side of the screen, as I'm doing this, you can see my DAW. I want you to sort of see how, as I go all the way to the extreme left on the power soak and start decreasing dBs, I want you to see how low the signal can go, and then at the alternate time, if I make it 0, neutral, unity, you'll see how it starts clipping. So let's check that out. So initial impressions of this plugin, I think it's really good. I think that Brainworx went to a lot of trouble to give you all these different recording chains, and obviously they sound good. I think they sound very applicable to a lot of different situations. I think demoing through all the cabinets and finding the sound will be as important as trying to dial in a sound on the front faceplate. I found when dialing in the sound that I had to go kind of extreme, check out the presence settings, or using the C45 sort of gave me a little bit more clarity, I thought, in my sound. So check it out for yourself. I think my favorite use of this plugin would be to go and record guitars from the console application of Universal Audio right into Pro Tools and have a finished or close to finished guitar sound. Or if you just want to do raw DI tracks, you could certainly use this as a reamper later to get a finished sound during your mix session. That's also another option. Anyway, check it out. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you later.